name is García. This is my story. I was born in Havana, Cuba. In my freshman year of high school, my mom received a letter from the United States Embassy saying that our application for refugee status had been accepted. My mom applied to come to the United States as a refugee, as a political refugee specifically, in the year 2000, and it took 8 years for the U.S. government to approve the visa. We finally made it to the United States. It was only my mom and me. We left my dad behind in Cuba. He still is in Cuba. When I arrived in the United States, it was difficult for me, mostly because language disadvantage. I didn't understand a word of English. Everything was in Spanish. I moved into a Cuban American city, Hialeah, which has a 99% population of Spanish speakers. Got into Hialeah High School, which was also Spanish speaking. But eventually I got used to the American culture, and in my senior year of high school could make it into US. So yeah, so many people don't know what's the difference between a refugee and an immigrant per se. Basically, just to give you an example, most people who come from like, I don't know, Mexico or something like that, usually are treated by the United States as an immigrant because they come mostly because of economic reasons. In my case, my mom thought that Cuba was not the place for her anymore. At her job, she was being discriminated against because of her political belief. My dad's political belief was also conflicting with the political belief of the system. So we thought that Cuba was not a place for us anymore because we couldn't express ourselves freely, we couldn't say the things were being, our lives have been affected by the state. So the impossibility of finding a job, because basically the state doesn't employ you because they say no. And you don't agree with what I have to say, so therefore I won't employ you in anything. So that's the difference between being a refugee and being an immigrant. Basically a political refugee in this case, which is the status that the United States applied to my family and me. Yeah, I left when we came to the United States. It was only my mom and me. So the hardest part is leaving the family behind, knowing that when you come out of the country as a refugee, specifically as a political refugee, you don't know when you're going to see your family again because there's always a possibility that when you apply to get a visa back into Cuba, which Cuban citizens have to apply for the visa, they will tell us no. And if they do, in fact, they told my mom twice no. And she was able to go for the first time last year to see her mother. For humanitarian reasons. So the toughest part is leaving your family behind and knowing that you don't know when you're gonna get them to come to the United States or when you can go there and see them. In my case, my mom and I, we had to leave my dad behind. In Cuba, he still had to make a living there. So I have an anecdote about that. I remember when I was coming to the United States, my plane was leaving Cuba at 3 p.m., but it didn't get to leave until 12. And when the plane was arriving to Miami, I saw all the lights that traumatized me. I never seen so many lights in my life together. And I never saw anything like that in Cuba. So things so little like that makes you reflect about the things that we have here in the United States and that so many times we take for granted. But many other people in the world haven't even seen it in their entire life, like me, when I came. So that's the memory that I have is how I could reflect on that. How many lies, how many even, not only the lies, but even the signs that were everywhere telling you what to do, where to go, signaling everything so you don't get lost in any place. In Cuba, you kind of have to figure it out. So yeah, now that I'm a senior, I'm actually applying. I just finished the process of applying to law school, and I got into some good law schools, George Washington University, University of Miami. I'm still waiting on many of them. But basically, I always want to be a lawyer. It's something that I always wanted to be, even though not in Cuba, I also wanted to be a lawyer, but in Cuba, there's no way to be one because there's no respect for human rights, there's no civil rights that you can represent. So the kind of law that I always wanted to practice, which is something related to my personal life, protecting civil rights, protecting the rights of the people against the government, is what I intend to do here in the United States. So I'm looking forward to studying my first year of law school, and then in my second year I can define what I want to do. And my track is going to be constitutional law because I want it related to defense of the civil rights of the people against the government and the incursions in the government of people's lives. So to the people watching me, I just want to say, don't take anything for granted. You don't know what you have. You are lucky enough to having grown in a society that, to a certain extent, allows you to do whatever you want. You have opportunities. You can be whatever you want and decide that future for yourself. I myself, if I would have stayed in Cuba, I would have probably not been able to go to law school or do many of the things that I want to do.